Mirror's Edge. It's a game almost every video game essayist has at least once talked about. But why? They talk about parkour. They talk about first-person movement. They talk about how influential it was. And I will be mentioning those things too, but that is not why Mirror's Edge has a special place in my heart. To me, it is memorable because of what it slowly leads to, the moments where you finally stop. Very few games can say they started a whole genre on its back, being the frontrunners in what is to be the next big thing. But even though it had left a huge influence on other games to come, Mirror's Edge itself was lost to time. And though you can still see its DNA in games like Dying Light, none of these inspirations have been able to capture the sheer nostalgia and breathtaking views Mirror's Edge has to offer. The keen-eyed among you may have picked a pattern in modern AAA games. Most of them open with the same visual template. The camera slowly pulls back, your character becomes smaller, and the world stretches out before you. It's a cinematic shot of pure scale, telling the player of the journey to come. And most of the time, honestly, it works beautifully. A single, carefully staged moment of grandeur. But Mirror's Edge uses this very differently. The greatest joy I found in playing it wasn't simply from running across its rooftops. It wasn't even the speed or the fun-to-do movement mechanics. Strangely enough, it was those repeated moments of view from the top looking at the horizon beyond. Mirror's Edge does not use scale as a one-off move and then moves on. It keeps returning to it. You reach the top of a building, pause for breath, and look out across the city. It is in these moments that I found the greatest joy. Moments that allow thoughts to subside, like watching a sunset where, for a brief instant, everything becomes quiet and reflective. The city stops being a prop and becomes a space to exist within. If most games are about the journey, then Mirror's Edge is at its most powerful in the destination, the view from the top. And every single time, I felt like stopping to just take it all in and let it go. If games like Stalker gave me the feeling of Yugen, a feeling of digging change, then Mirror's Edge gave me the feeling of being still alive, where I wanted to stay in the moment a tad bit longer, where there is a certain calmness in the moment. And this calmness in Mirror's Edge is amplified by something that on paper sounds like a flaw: lack of NPCs. In most open or semi-open world games, NPCs are what makes the world feel alive. It is the crowds, the chatter, the routines, the schedules. But in Mirror's Edge, the rarity of NPCs often would make the world feel like your playground, which would immediately transfer me to my childhood moments, where the whole world revolves around me, a moment in time where a world felt much more simple. And so, because of this lack of NPCs, like yin and yang, whenever you did find an NPC on rooftops, that emptiness made these rare moments of human presence feel a bit more special. For most often you would have no info to fill in about their lives. And so, immediately my mind would start wondering, what is it like to live there? And then there is the game's lighting. Both games look absolutely beautiful, but both use it with very different intentions. Catalyst lighting is cold, clean, and blue, representing a city obsessed with perfection. Almost as if the point of its world isn't for people to live there but to admire it. Futuristic in its look, and thus Catalyst feels like a story of the world around us to come, taken to its extreme. Then there is the first one. It very much captures the era of Nokia phones. The warm colors that almost look like looking at a footage from an instant camera, a product of its time. And so playing this game today, I can't help but feel nostalgic. Its world reminds me of a futuristic city imagined in the past. There were moments where it genuinely felt like running through a version of Tokyo that doesn't exist. A city from another timeline. A city I have never been to. And the best way I can describe it is as gameplay ASMR, the interactive equivalent of watching someone walk through a city in the rain. So what does Mirror's Edge do so differently that other games of today are unable to? Why does it feel so unique? If I had to reduce it to one difference, it would be this. Modern games, most of the time at least, have come very far ahead at telling stories. Meanwhile, the older ones gave you this feeling of existing in another world very well. There are exceptions, of course, The Witcher 3 being a major one, but the pattern is still there. For example, Expedition 33. Its story is great, its world is absolutely beautiful, but it never felt as if I was in that place. Throughout the whole game, it always felt I was controlling a character in a beautiful world. Older games like Mirror's Edge, even if the story is somewhat bare bones, made its world feel familiar. Real enough that, for a brief moment, I forgot I was looking at a screen. But Mirror's Edge is unique even in that sense. In other games, the world would often get boring if there were no tasks to do. Those random chase sequences used to fill up the empty traversal at best would be a thrilling game of tag. Though most of the time, it would be an annoyance to me. For in the back of my mind, I would keep wondering, what view of the city am I missing from this particular rooftop? And I don't think I am generalizing too much by saying that most of us men in our childhood loved the feeling of one thing, the sheer joy of running around. Could be as simple as running to the top of the stairs while trying to outdo our siblings to see who reaches the top first. It could be a simple game of tag. Or wondering how does the world feel if I were to go from rooftop to rooftop in our neighborhood, exploring the nooks and crannies of the world surrounding us in our view. And Mirror's Edge is the closest product of any entertainment medium that allows me to relive that feeling. It also goes ahead and invokes a sense of imagination and allows me to actually live those moments I thought of doing in my childhood at least. Where this young 8-year-old me who had just watched Assassin's Creed's trailer wondered if he could also climb and move around from rooftop to rooftop just like Altair. And so Mirror's Edge being a first-person game is a blessing, and the sheer sense of oneness with the character's movement as a player wouldn't have been possible without it. I think older devs really did have one thing that today's AAA devs lack: passion. It's a cliche answer, but when you look how intricate the details are on Faith's movement mechanics and physics and how she feels when you are moving around, from tiny details like being able to look at your legs while running, to minute gestures like her touching surface of a wall or glass whenever she's next to them, gave this a more realistic sense of groundedness. The first game even outdoes its sequel in this regard, but I wouldn't trade one for the other. After having finished both, I appreciate both of these games. So yeah, I wish I had an ending to this video essay, but I don't like saying goodbyes. So instead, maybe go play Mirror's Edge and indulge in some guilty nostalgia that actually feels good. This is Jester, and peace out.